Picture this. It's the height of the Cold War. Tensions are and two global superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, are locked in a terrifying staring contest. Both sides have enough nuclear firepower to end the world several times over. But there was one weapon in the American arsenal that gave the Soviet high command a special kind of nightmare: the Minuteman missile. Why was this specific missile so feared? It wasn't just about its power. It was about its secrecy, its speed, and its sheer, overwhelming numbers. Let's rewind a bit. Before the Minuteman nuclear delivery systems were, shall we say, a bit more conspicuous, you had massive bomber planes like the B-52. These were powerful, but they were also slow, vulnerable to air defenses, and required huge air base. Then came the first generation of liquid-fueled ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles, like the Atlas and Titan. These were a huge leap forward, capable of crossing continents in minutes, but they had a major weakness. Their liquid fuel was incredibly volatile and corrosive. This meant they couldn't be kept fueled and ready to go. Launching one was a complex, hours-long process of fueling and preparation. If the Soviets launched a surprise attack, these missiles would likely be destroyed in their silos before they could even get off the ground. The early warning systems of the time only gave about 15 to 30 minutes of notice, which simply wasn't enough. This is where the Minuteman missile changed the game entirely. Its name was a stroke of genius, hinting at its most terrifying capability. It could be ready to launch in about a minute. The secret was its solid fuel propellant. Unlike its liquid-fueled predecessors, the Minuteman's fuel was stable, preloaded, and could be stored for years, ready for instant use. This simple but revolutionary change in technology transformed America's nuclear posture from a lumbering giant to a lightning-fast predator. For the Soviet military planners, this was a strategic catastrophe. Their entire doctrine was based on the idea of a massive, disarming first strike. They believed they could wipe out America's nuclear forces on the ground before a response could be launched. The Minuteman missile made that strategy obsolete overnight. It created a credible, near-instantaneous, retaliatory force. This concept, known as launch on warning, meant that the moment Soviet missiles were detected heading for the US, the Minuteman missiles could be blasting out of their silos before the incoming warheads even arrived. But the fear factor didn't stop there. It was also about where these missiles were hidden. The United States embarked on a colossal construction project, dotting the vast landscapes of the American Midwest with 1,000 hardened underground silos. From the Dakotas and Montana down to Wyoming, Nebraska, and Colorado, 1,000 fingers of doom were hidden just beneath the soil. These silos were dispersed over enormous areas, making them incredibly difficult to target simultaneously. Each one was a reinforced concrete and steel fortress, buried deep underground, designed to withstand anything but a direct nuclear hit. Imagine being a Soviet targeteer. Your job is to map out and destroy America's nuclear capability. Suddenly, you're not just dealing with a few dozen bomber bases or missile complexes. You're dealing with 1,000 individual, widely scattered, hardened targets. To guarantee their destruction, you'd need to assign at least 2 of your own warheads to each silo, just in case one missed or malfunctioned. That's 2,000 warheads, a huge portion of the entire Soviet arsenal, just to take out the Minuteman force. And to Benton, there was no guarantee of success. This created an impossible math problem for the Kremlin. The cost of trying to destroy the Minuteman force was so astronomically high that it made a first strike look like suicide. This is the core of deterrence, making the cost of an attack far outweigh any potential benefit. Furthermore, the command and control system for the Minuteman fleet was a marvel of engineering and redundancy. Each group of 10 silos was controlled by an underground launch control center, manned 24/7 by 2 Air Force officers. These centers were themselves hardened against attack and connected through a network of redundant, buried communication cables. If one control center was destroyed, another could take command of its missiles. This decentralized, resilient network meant there was no single point of failure. Decapitating the command structure was nearly impossible. The Soviets knew that even if they managed to take out Washington, D.C. and the top military leadership, launch orders could still be executed by the crews sitting deep underground in the middle of nowhere. The psychological impact on the Soviet leadership was profound. The Minutemen represented a threat that was not only powerful but also perpetual and invisible. Unlike a fleet of bombers that could be tracked, or a naval fleet that could be shadowed, the Minuteman force was a silent, hidden sentinel. 1,000 missiles, each carrying a warhead many times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima, were constantly on alert, their guidance systems humming, ready to fly at a moment's notice. This constant, unseen pressure fundamentally altered the strategic balance of the Cold War. It forced a shift away from first strike fantasies and towards the grim reality of mutually assured destruction, or MAD. The idea was simple and terrifying. Any nuclear attack would be met with a devastating counterattack, resulting in the total annihilation of both sides. Over the decades, the Minuteman missile system was continually upgraded. The original Minuteman was replaced by the Minuteman II, which had better range and accuracy. Then came the Minuteman III, the version that is still in service today. The key upgrade for the Minuteman III was the addition of multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles, or MI. This meant a single missile could carry multiple warheads, each capable of hitting a different target. This exponentially increased the complexity for any potential adversary. Now, one incoming missile could represent several threats, making missile defense an even more daunting challenge. So, when we look back, the fear of the Minuteman was rooted in a perfect storm of technological innovation and strategic brilliance. It was the combination of solid fuel readiness, allowing for near-instant launch. It was the sheer number, 1,000 missiles creating an unwinnable numbers game for any attacker. It was the strategic dispersal and hardening of the silos, making them survivable. And it was the resilient, decentralized command and control system that guaranteed a response. Together, these factors created a weapon system that was the backbone of American deterrence. For decades, it was the silent guardian in the cornfields and prairies, the weapon that, by its very existence and terrifying potential, played a crucial role in preventing the Cold War from ever turning hot. It was a technological marvel born of fear, designed to ensure that the worst-case scenario would never come to pass. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this deep dive into Cold War history interesting, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next video.